All right, topic I'm going to bring up today is going to target mainly the male audience. So, but, females, please don't turn off just yet. I want you to take into consideration what we're going to discuss. If you have an understanding of this topic, I can promise you it will greatly improve your relationship with any male in your life, whether it be a friend, a father, a son, grandfather, uncle, brother, significant other, whatever relationship you may have with a male. If you understand this topic, it will improve it. I promise you. And the only reason I'm not speaking about the female, first of all, the topic we're going to discuss is the male's mental health. The only reason we're not discussing the female's mental health is because I can't empathize with it. I can sympathize, understand y'all go through some serious crap too, 100%. But I can't speak from a place of empathy. And I don't think that's necessarily fair of me to discuss, because if I were you, the entire time I'd be thinking, what does he know? He doesn't know what we go through as females. And you're right, I don't know. Even living with 4 females, I can't speak on what goes through their mind on a day-to-day basis and their feelings. And I'm not going to try to speak on that because I think that's disrespectful. So, I'm going to speak on the male's mental health. What we go through as males, particularly ages, let's say 25 to 45 to 50-ish. It's rough. Every male wants to consider himself alpha. I'd say every male wants to consider himself a sigma, but we probably portray it as alpha because we have to be mouthy to show that ego, that dominance that we so desire. What's going on behind the scenes, let me tell you, is an absolute tornado, a hurricane, a natural disaster from a mental state. I didn't start giving this the respect it deserves until I began having panic attacks. And the very first panic attack I had was, I don't know, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. I was taking a quiz or a test, one for my undergrad, and I was sitting beside Samantha on the couch. She was on the couch, I was in the chair, in the sofa, love seat, whatever. And I was taking a quiz or test, seemed like a perfectly fine day. TV was playing, and I felt this weirdness, and it felt like it was coming from afar. It's like I felt something moving closer to me. I don't really know how to put it into words. And then it happened. I froze up, and tears started running down my face. I couldn't speak. I was breaking down mentally. And I went to the bedroom because I didn't want my kids to see me like that. I fell on the floor, broke down crying, wanted to be left alone, but didn't want to be alone, if that makes any sense. I wanted Samantha there with me, but I didn't want to be seen as that vulnerable, that weak. And it lasted a good while. I was still feeling the effects from it the next day. I remember it being a very dark morning. I wasn't myself, couldn't really function. I remember the whole rest of that day, 2 days after, I was just very lethargic, mentally drained, mentally wiped. So I went to a doctor about it, and the way they described it to me perfectly, to break it down for a dummy like me: stress, anxiety, these things. Imagine a cup or a saucer, a cup, and it's just a slow drip going into this cup. And that cup obviously represents your mind, your brain. And the drips are stress. It could be one thing, it could be little things just adding up. And the way the doctor explained to me, anxiety and panic attacks come from that cup getting filled slower, little by little, from little things money, or something happened on driving or work or relationship. It's just doesn't have to be something huge. It could be small things one after another, and you're not addressing it because you're not discussing it, venting it out, getting it off your chest until it finally overflows and it runs over the lid of the rim of that cup, and it's too late at that point. What's done is done, and you can't do anything at that point but to ride the wave and let it get out of your system. A good cry, whatever it is. Sometimes people lash out their mental health, their stress through anger. I've been known to do that time too. I snapped at Samantha earlier today because I'm just stressed out dealing with some stuff, and it's fine. We'll get through that, you know. And that's part of addressing those stresses. Is, babe, sorry, not you. Issue. This is nothing about me and you. I snapped at you. Crap I got going on, whether it be work, whether it be school, whether it be money, whether it be anything. It's not always the person you directed at. Unfortunately, your significant other, the people you're around the most, are the people that have to take that from you. We have to take it from them too, y'all. We signed up for it when we decided to be their person. So know that. But the mental, that's kind of stress in general. Now let's talk about the male, what we go through. As the male, I'd say majority of us, I'm not going to speak for all of us, majority of us feel like we have to be the Mr. Fix-It. If there's money issues, we have to find a way to make more money. If something's broke around the house, we have to find a way to fix it. If one of our kids are hurting, whether it be mentally or physically, we feel like we need to take charge to fix that. Relationships with our wives or significant others, we want to take control of the situation so bad and fix it. We want to have that magic word that fixes it. And that word doesn't exist, though. It doesn't exist. We or feel inadequate more than anything. And if you say you do not feel a sense of inadequacy on a regular basis, if you're not holding yourself at a high enough standard, or you're a liar. Simple as that. I feel like I set the bar extremely high for myself. I had an incredible example for a male role model in my life from my father, and I'm striving so hard to be a tenth of the man he is. I'm blessed to have positive male figures around me through friends as well. And I want to be able to be that to them. I hold myself at a high standard at work. I want to come up with the good ideas. I want to be the person that comes up with the resolutions. I hold myself to a high standard once again. My kids, I want my daughters to see the way a man is supposed to treat their kids. I want my daughters to see the way a man is supposed to treat his wife. And that's probably the two biggest pressures I have daily. And Samantha sure tell me I'm doing a good job, and I appreciate that, because you need to hear that. You need to hear those words of affirmation. But the pressure I put on myself is very high, and she and I talk about that. But those two items right there are heavy, 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 heavy. At that, I put the stress on myself with my relationship with Samantha. I want her to be proud of the man she's arm in arm with. I want her to be drawn to me from a physical way, emotional way, mental. I want her to be proud to be my wife and be seen as that. I want to impress her. She's the only person, her and my kids are the only people I try to impress. I want to do right by others, and I want to be a positive influence to them, but they're the only people I try to impress. These are all very heavy, 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 heavy weights that we put on us. And I've found the more you can discuss them with the people around you, and I'm very open with my daughters. I've probably been too open with them for too long. But I try to explain to them when I'm being strict on them, why I'm being strict on them, because it's not fair to not do that. I want them to understand the high level I put their opinion of me, why I strive so hard for them. I want them to understand how much their mother means to me and her opinion of me means to me. And I discuss these things with them. I discuss these things with Samantha as well, and I suggest you discuss these things with your kids and your wife and your significant other, and you share this with them, or that stress is going to build up. They need to know how you feel so they can kind of alleviate that stress from you. The words of affirmation tell you you're doing a good job. For them to say, hey, you're being way too hard on yourself, that carries a lot of weight, bro. I'm serious, it does. Because they're right in most cases. The reassurance they can give you if you just discuss with them can go a long ways. So I highly recommend discussing this with them. I highly recommend discussing this stuff with your boys, with your friends, with your father, whoever you're close with and comfortable and confiding in. Chances are they are going through or have been through similar crap. I know me and my friends struggle with the same crap, you know, and it's easy to talk about. It really is. And maybe they say something that you can help give some input on. And maybe you say some stuff that they can give some input on. But the point I'm getting at is you have to empty that cup every so often, because the stress is not going to stop coming. The stress is going to keep coming. It's how you handle that, and the preventive measure you put in place is to empty that cup every so often. It overflowing does not empty. It stays at the rim. Think about that. Just because you have an anxiety attack, a panic attack, you lash out, you do whatever it is, that didn't empty that cup. It's still just as full as it was, and it's waiting for another drip to come back on you. This is some serious, heavy stuff that I highly recommend men to think about. And in a later episode, I'm going to talk about suicide rates for men our age. And well, everyone, but it's pretty scary what the suicide rates are for men in said age bracket that I mentioned earlier. Very scary. And it's all due to the stress we put ourselves in the job place, family, the inadequacy where you feel like the world's going to be better off without you. You know, I had that same feeling not too long ago, you know, and, you know, would the world be better than I be? Y'all, and this is something dark, and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but I've tasted the wrong end of a Glock 45. I know what it's like to be at that level where you think ending it right here will put your kids in a better place, and your significant other in a better place, and your family in a better place. It's a very, very dark place, and since that night, I swore I'd never let myself feel that way again. Have I gotten that bad off since? No. Have I had very dark times? Yes. But I'm trying to do things right now by voicing it out through this, hoping to help someone else, helping or discussing this with my family. The worst things I found to cope with stress, and I still struggle with this, I mention this often, is don't turn to the bottle. Don't look for salvation in the bottom of a bottle. All it's going to do is temporarily numb it. You'll be back tomorrow, I promise you. And the day after, you can numb it. It'll be back the next day. And it'll keep coming. Stress is going to keep coming until you find the right way to empty that cup. All right, that's really all I got that I want to leave y'all with. Find a way to make today better than yesterday. Find a way to make this earth better than it was yesterday. Reach out to someone. Share the same talks with someone else. Tell someone you love them.